Article 38(2), the election must be free and fair. Because it concerns not the contestants, but every citizen. Article 38(2) actually says every citizen of Kenya is entitled to a free and fair election. Article 81 of the Constitution requires a free, fair, transparent election where everyone is entitled to universal suffrage and equality of votes. A very important aspect, my lord and my lady, that we'll be touching on. Every man is entitled to one vote, and every woman is entitled to one vote, irregardless of their age, if they're over 18, tribe, status. One vote. And any conduct of the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission that waters down the equality of vote vitiates the entire election, irregardless of the result. I raised this question yesterday, and I will raise it today. How can you verify the number of people who were entitled to vote in the presidential elections of 4th March 2013? And if you find discrepancies, what is the logical result? Do you do mathematics? Do you look at the numbers? Do you look at the result? Do you look at 50 plus 1? Do you look at the rejected votes? It is not what the candidate got. But the question is this: if 14,300,000, my lords, I'll give you the exact figure according to the principal register, the one that was published on 18th February in accordance with the law. It is 14,352,533. My lord, if one person outside that principal register was allowed to vote, they disenfranchised the Kenyans who came out in numbers to register to be voters. A deliberate choice. I want to vote for my county ward representative, woman representative, senator, member of parliament, governor, president. If the IEBC, my lords, allowed any person who was not in the principal register, the only logical conclusion that this court can reach is to invalidate that election. My lords, my learned senior will have his time to respond. He must sit down. He's my senior, but he must sit down.
The request is not to my learned friend, but to the judges. There is an objection regarding what my learned friend is going to canvass, and it may be appropriate that a ruling or a direction is given at this time so that we do not sit back, an illegality is committed, and then it will be too late to reverse it. But it's entirely up to my lords to indicate how we take objections, because something like this could go too far if one is introducing new evidence in their submissions.
My lords, senior counsel will have his opportunity. This is a petitioner's day in court. Surely he must sit down. It goes without saying that the first and second respondents promised that they would announce the presidential election results within 48 hours. And they made that promise relying on the fact that they were going to transmit results electronically. My lords, you'll have an occasion to look at the affidavits of IEBC in response to the question of failure of electronic transmission of results. They have admitted that it failed in 55.1% of the polling station. It is my humble submission that even when you use a test, whether the elections were conducted substantially in accordance with the law, 55% failure is substantial failure. In any credible school of law, if you get 44%, you will be given a D that you deserve, below average. But that is hypothetical. What does the law require of them? Regulation 82. And it is my humble submission, my lords, that these regulations, under the interpretation of statutes, are as binding as any other section of the law. The presiding officer shall, before referring the actual results of the election to the returning officer at the tallying venue, submit to the returning officer the results in electronic form in such manner as the Commission may direct. In the replying affidavit by Dismas, he says that when they drafted these rules and placed them before Parliament, they used the word may. They preferred that the standard is the presiding officer may, before referring the actual results. And Parliament, in its wisdom and exercising its powers deriving from the people of Kenya, since these laws were made after the Constitution was promulgated, put a mandatory requirement. My lords, when you retire to your chambers, and you have a very difficult task ahead of you, my lords, you must ask yourself, what was the mischief behind this rule? And I'll take you back. Before electronic transmission of results, long before electronic transmission of results was put in the law, ballot boxes used to be transported from the polling station to the constituency tallying officer. And political party agents found a way to stuff the ballot boxes. So the law changed. In 2007, the law required that you count the ballots cast in your polling station, you fill in the results and transmit the results to the constituency returning officer. And we all know what happened, because we, the country, paid a price for it. Presiding officers, constituency returning officers, national tallying officers colluded and changed these results, as a result of which Kriegler's commission stated that we could not tell who won the election. And that is when the law changed. So when the IEBC tell you this process was manual, that is according to their standards. It is not the standards that the people of Kenya required of them. The electronic transmission of results was not for the benefit of IEBC. It was for the benefit of voters and agents of political parties, so that by the time the presiding officer is leaving the polling station, members of the public know the result that was declared at that polling station. And therefore, if you arrive with a form that differs with that you sent electronically, you answer the question why. My lord, it was not a control, as they would purport to say. It was not an option. That was a targeted provision of the law. And has it affected the validity of this election, the presidential election? Yes. And I will show you.